Hello. This is a brief lecture about the Muses. The Muses are the nine distinct divinities or goddesses that sprang from the head of Zeus after he slept secretly 9 nights with Mnemosyne, who's the goddess of memory, right? Mythically, they inspire the creation of beauty. The Greeks believed that in a world of mortality and entropy, only the beautiful endures. The beautiful work of art acquires immortality through the generations. So I'm going to take a swig of coffee and then I want to unpack this because it's so interesting. I read the Odyssey. I studied it over this last year, and the Greek gods are crazy, you know. I mean, what kind of gods have sex with each other anyway? And, they're playing, they're like, hoodwinking each other, and he does so secretly. And the really fascinating thing about this, right, is the union between Zeus, or king of the gods, or kind of foremost heroic of the gods, and Mnemosyne, the goddess of memory. And what the Greeks are putting forward is this idea that, if it's beautiful, it gets pushed through the generations. And that's the only claim that human beings have to a kind of immortality, right? This idea of the tragic immortality is that we die. And for the Greeks, we could create something that would outlive our own lives. And that's the very interesting thing about this kind of, I don't know, theoretical frame of the muses. And you could see it, there's a quick trip. Well, in 10, 15 years, they're going to bulldoze it down. But you look and you see a very beautiful building, like, I don't know, an old church or some kind of historical landmark, and people go way out of their way to make sure it perseveres. And the great works of art, right? Think of a film like Casablanca. Well, let me tell you what, that was made in 1941. All those people, they're all dead. And we're watching what they're doing, and we're listening to the script and all the work of all the artists. And that, in a way, has outlived everybody. And you can imagine, in 100 years, if people are still watching films, they're going to be watching Casablanca. So what I want to show you here is that, I mean, these are the nine muses and their specific domain. And there's a couple of interesting things about it, and how like comedy and tragedy have their own domains. And back in the day, there was uh, a muse called Terpsichore, and she was of the beauty of dance, which I mean, dance is one of the great arts, and we don't dance very much, but it's really quite ballet and such, right? But what I want to draw your attention to is many of the muses are a kind of function of language, specifically poetry. And you could see like epic poetry, which means like really big poetry, I guess, like the Odyssey or the Iliad. Lyric poetry, that would be kind of more playful. um I think song and elegiac poetry has more to do with a religious tone. But it, I just want to show you that so much of what the Greeks thought, what was beautiful, springs from our ability to speak. Really, they're muses of language. So here you go.